Welcome, everybody, to our second episode of our brand new podcast. I'm Dalil, and I'm with INDALO Bio, Advanced Diagnostics Laboratories. Today, we are very fortunate to have our guest, Lynette Muthuray, with the CHOC Foundation. Welcome, Lynette.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. So today we're going to be bringing awareness about childhood cancer and the amazing work that the CHOC Foundation does. And I'm just really excited for today's episode. So, Lynette, let's start off with you a little bit. Tell our audience what's your background, and how did you get involved with the CHOC Foundation?
Yeah, after completing my studies, I joined CHOC in 2012 as a fundraiser. I've always been historically in the field of fundraising in the non-profit sector. And since then I've been with the CHOC Childhood Cancer Foundation, and it's been an amazing experience.
Lovely. So can you give us a brief description of what the CHOC Foundation actually is? This is the first time I've actually heard of the foundation, to be honest with you, and I'd really like to know more.
CHOC is a national organization. We were started in 1979 by a couple whose daughter was diagnosed with cancer and who is now a survivor. And historically, there were not many support services rendered to parents whose children were diagnosed with cancer. And they saw the need to start parent support groups in the hospital where their daughter was treated. And those parent support groups spread to all the pediatric oncology units around the country. And then CHOC was established, and now we are 43 years old.
Mm-hmm. That's impressive. So you're telling me CHOC was started by individuals that saw a need?
Yes, it was started we're a parent organization. We always call ourselves a parent organization because we were started by parents whose children were diagnosed with cancer and saw the need to have support groups for other parents or with other parents, because this is a difficult journey. And since 1979, we've grown into a national organization. We are in 6 provinces around the country. Amazing. And our head office is in Johannesburg. And in all of those provinces, we work very closely with the pediatric oncology wards as well as the hematology wards at the tertiary hospitals.
Impressive. So let's get down to the basics, or the practical aspect of what kind of services does CHOC provide?
As you know, when a child is diagnosed with cancer, even when an adult is diagnosed with cancer, it's very overwhelming. Families are very worried. Families are having a huge financial burden on themselves once the diagnosis is shared with them. And one of the things CHOC offers, because when a child is diagnosed with cancer, it's preferred that child, or preferable that the child be treated at a pediatric oncology unit or ward. And those pediatric oncology wards are only found in the tertiary hospitals. So once the parent once the child is diagnosed and the parent visits the pediatric oncology ward, the pediatric oncologist as well as the social worker introduces them to CHOC. As many parents have to travel very far distances to access treatment. They have to travel very far distances to see the doctor. And therefore, one of the services CHOC provides, which is a very crucial one, is our home away from home accommodation. We have what we call 13 CHOC houses and lodges around the country where a parent would stay at no cost with the child for the full duration of the treatment. So that is an amazing service that we render. And the qualifying criteria is that a parent needs to reside 50 kilometers or further away from the treatment centers.
Interesting. And I mean, I haven't had experience with cancer myself, but I can imagine there's a lot more to the treatment than chemotherapy.
It's the practical support, yes. I agree with you that many parents need in order to help their child access the treatment. And some of the other services we render as CHOC some of the other services we render consist out of our practical support program. So as I shared earlier, cancer places a huge financial burden on the family. In many cases, one of the parents need to resign from full-time employment to come to Cape Town or come to the tertiary hospitals with their child that's not well. So financially there's a burden, emotionally there's a burden on the family. So some of the practical support services CHOC assists the families with consists out of our nutritional support. These are things like food hampers or food vouchers that the CHOC social workers distributes to the families that are really in need of it. We also assist with what we call care bags. So every newly diagnosed child in the academic hospitals receives a CHOC care bag with a CHOC handbook. It's a CHOC parent handbook that has been developed by CHOC that helps the parent with a lot of information as he or she faces this journey. Some of the other services are our transport fund. When a mother struggles to bring the child or a father for treatment, one of the reasons could be that they're struggling financially. And our CHOC Transport Fund is what we call a cash contribution that helps the mothers who are outpatients to travel from home and to the hospital on a daily basis. And this assists the families then to not default on their child's treatment. We also raise a whole lot of awareness on childhood cancer because in South Africa, the survival rate is only 55%, while in developed countries, the survival rate is between 70 to 80%. So early detection saves lives, and therefore it's very important that we do raise awareness. CHOC also uses a whole lot of hospital and house volunteers to assist us in rendering these services to the parents, both at our CHOC houses. We have what we call volunteers, as well as in the hospitals, we have interactive play volunteers, we have ward volunteers, we have tea morning volunteers that go in and provides the parents sometimes with a muffin and a warm cup of tea or coffee while they wait for long hours on their child's treatment. And then lastly, we also employ our own social workers. CHOC employs their own social workers, and we place these pediatric oncology social workers in the pediatric oncology wards around the country, and they assist with the counseling, with the debriefing that is so important once the families are diagnosed. And most of all, they provide support to the parents during this difficult journey. So that's CHOC.
That's very, very impressive, and I'd like to say that it seems like a very holistic approach.
It is, yes. It's a very comprehensive approach. CHOC is one of the organizations that offers a very comprehensive support program to the families once their children are diagnosed.
And I was just thinking of it out of the blue. I mean, I don't think that a family in financial stress that has a child that is diagnosed with such a serious medical condition can be more vulnerable.
Yes, right. I agree with you. Yes,
so
definitely.
It really seems that CHOC is providing the support to make sure that these families aren't targeted, because I'm sure with this financial difficulty and the expenses that is healthcare, it's enormous, and I'm sure lots of families could face targeting from loan sharks or anything like that.
Yeah, the good thing is that when a child is diagnosed and treated at the academic hospitals, the expense with regards to the treatment are almost zero because the state subsidizes the child's treatment. But you are correct, it places a whole lot of financial strain on the family, particularly when one of the main breadwinners need to resign from full-time employment to be with his or her child in another province, or sometimes in the city to assist with the treatment, to assist with helping the child in accessing the treatment.
I'd even say that there's a lot of phantom costs associated with cancer in children. As you pointed out, logistics, traveling, housing, special nutritional requirements, social work, and everything in between. So this is actually, I'd say it's it's an area that we need to bring, shed more light on, and this is a wonderful conversation that I'm having.
Yeah, and many parents, as you know, when they travel long distances to access treatment, many times they leave their other children at home.
Wow,
and,
of course.
And there's the constant worry about my other kids that are at home, having to arrange another caregiver. When the mother is in Cape Town or in the city where the pediatric oncology ward is for sometimes a year at a time, it is very difficult emotionally and financially on parents, yes.
So something I'd like to touch upon, I've addressed earlier, but raising awareness around cancer in children, it's obviously it's very important. How does CHOC achieve this?
CHOC has a national, what we call, awareness training and education program. And in this program, we have what we call both community trainers, messengers, and trained traditional leaders that do go out and train the public on the early warning signs of childhood cancer. We also, as the CHOC regional officers, have various campaigns where we get the early warning signs out in the media in order to help the public to hear all of these early warning signs. And we believe that the more we educate the public on the early warning signs, the greater chances are that children will be diagnosed quicker. So some of the workshops that we render, or all of the workshops that we render, are targeted at various people that are part of our communities. For instance, we have workshops with teachers, with traditional leaders, with registered nurses, with nursing students, and normal members of the public, like women's groups, can also contact CHOC to come and do a quick or information session on the early warning signs of childhood cancer. We have messengers that visit various local community health clinics and actually talk about the early warning signs during the baby clinic visits.
All right.
So it's very important that we get the message out there around what are those signs that parents or caregivers or gogos can look out for in children. Yeah.
Of course. I'm not a parent myself, but hopefully one day I will be. And obviously, I would want to know what those early warning signs might be. What are the early warning signs of cancer in children?
CHOC utilizes the Siluan early warning signs, and it was developed by the South African Children's Cancer Study Group. And every early warning sign is linked to one of the letters in the word Siluan. So if I might start with the letter S. So S refers to seeking help early, that a parent, when he or she feels uncomfortable with what was shared during his or her first visit to the hospital or to the general practitioner or to the pediatrician, seek help early and persistently. If you feel in your heart you are not happy with whatever's been shared in terms of why these symptoms are there, seek help, and be consistent and persistent. And then the letter I refers to, we do know that in children that one of the common cancers is retinoblastoma. So the letter I refers to a white spot in the eye, a new squint, or a bulging eyeball. So when those symptoms occur, parents need to definitely have it checked out. Then in the word Siluan, the letter L refers to lumps. We all know that you find a malignant lump and a non-malignant lump. And parents need to look or assess if there are lumps, for instance, in the neck, in the testes, in the glands of the child. It's just important to look out for lumps in children. And then the letter U refers to unexplained fever, unexplained fatigue. Maybe the child used to, for instance, when he comes back from school, he plays soccer with his friends in the street and he's just now suddenly constantly tired, always wanting to sleep, not wanting to play, not wanting to do anything that children do when they're out at home. And so constant fatigue, pallor, unexplained fever, prolonged fever for more than 2 weeks. Those are things that parents need to look out for. Yes. And then I think I left out the letter A. Did I leave out the letter A? So A refers to aching. When a child complains of headaches, constant headaches, with or without vomiting, and also the child complains, for instance, of aching bones, aching joints, those are things that parents need to definitely have it checked out. Children normally should not complain of headaches or backache.
Yeah.
It's not normal for kids to complain constantly of having a headache and backache, and they need to have that checked out, particularly if it's more than one early warning sign symptom that exists and that presents itself. It's new symptoms that presents itself over a long period of time, and whatever the GP or whatever's prescribed is not working successfully. Then the letter N, which is the last letter of the word Siluan, refers to neurological signs. So when a baby, for instance, a toddler was able to walk or crawl, and now he's not able to walk or crawl anymore, he loses balance, he or she loses balance. Or they're unable to, their speech is slurred, like where they would say good day, they're unable to say good day because their speech is slurred. And those are also early warning signs. So neurological is very important to also have it checked out. So neurological is normally defined as the milestones of the child is regressing.
All right.
And therefore parents need to, that is very crucial, that parents do not just ignore it, but that they definitely request a referral letter to the nearest pediatric oncology wards or the nearest academic hospital. So that's the early warning signs.
Wow, I've got a lot to learn. I'll speak to you later about it. So can you just say the word again?
Siluan, early warning.
Okay,
Siluan. Early warning signs, yes. And the public can visit the website of the South African Children's Cancer Study Group, or they can visit CHOC's website, where they will also find the early warning signs. CHOC also has all these early warning signs available in leaflet format. So members of the public, particularly teachers at schools or at ECD centers, can contact us. We deliver it at no cost, or we will make arrangements for them to receive it. And we have it in various languages available to the public, yes.
That's really, really important. I'm just thinking now, look, from an adult's perspective, it's quite, okay, I don't know. Parents, sometimes they can be quite neurotic, right? Everything's wrong with the kid. Oh, my kid can't do that or whatever, right? When would be the right time to start to take these things seriously? Or what would your advice be to parents that feel that maybe they're not sure, maybe they're being a bit too worried, or they're not worried enough, or what is your advice?
As parents, it's natural to be worried and concerned because we want only the best for our kids.
Of course.
We want them to be healthy, to have success in life, to be prosperous. And as parents, it's important just to get a second opinion. As CHOC, we're not saying that when a child is presenting one symptom that it is cancer, but normally if it's more than one childhood cancer symptom, more than one of what I mentioned, over a long period of time, and whatever has been prescribed by the medical practitioner that the parent visited is not working. So it should at least be 3 or more early warning signs, 2 to 3 early, over a long period of time. And then the parent needs to get a referral letter to the academic hospital and have it checked out. And when they do visit any medical facility, they need to say, I've been to so many previous facilities, medical facilities, and unfortunately whatever's been prescribed is not working. And may I please ask for a referral letter so that test can be done.
All right. Now, that's the way sort of your parents are, the method in which they start of picking up these signs and they'd reach out. Now, what kind of awareness do you give to children? Because obviously it'd be completely different, you know.
Yeah, when CHOC visits schools regularly,
Yeah.
where we educate the learners around CHOC and our services that we render to families and to the hospitals
Yeah.
when a child is diagnosed with cancer. But at primary school level, if I may use, or at
Yeah.
ECD level, our message is more on how to support a friend. If you have a little friend that's at school that's not well, you need to support him. So at primary school level and at ECD or foundation level, our messaging is very much aimed at how to support a friend who's not well, even when he's not at school for months on end and he returns. You need to support him, and you can
Interesting.
even support him while he's at the school, or excuse me, while he's at the hospital, by making a card and
Wow.
saying, "I'm thinking about you." And that bullying is absolutely wrong when you have a friend at school who's not well and who can't play as you play, or who can't do all of the activities as
Do you find that that's quite common for children with cancer to be bullied?
And actually not. We found that a lot of the schools where there are children that's been diagnosed have been amazing. They've been support from the whole school complement, as well as all the educators, the principal. They rally around the families and they support these families, and that is absolutely amazing. At high school level, we then at that level, in a very simple way, can start talking about CHOC services a little bit more in detail.
Yes.
But the early warning signs are more targeted at adults, at parents.
All right.
Our messaging to children is more targeted on, or focused on, how to support your friend who's not well, who's maybe got a very serious chronic illness, and what CHOC does to help the kids with cancer. But the early warning signs are definitely targeted at adults, because we are the parents and we need to be conscious of these signs. Yeah.
All right. Something that I've heard of. I see you are wearing a golden ribbon.
Oh yes.
And it says CHOC on it.
Yeah.
So tell me about this golden ribbon.
Yes, September is International Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So internationally, the whole childhood cancer community globally commemorates childhood cancer. And the color gold represents childhood cancer. And as CHOC, we believe that September is the month of gold. And that is why we wear gold ribbons.
So this must be kind of a drive, or who like how would you get involved? I want to have a golden ribbon. What do I do?
Yes, no, we can definitely
You know?
make that possible. So during the month of September, the members of the public can contact their nearest CHOC offices in your particular region, and you can purchase it directly from the CHOC offices. It's available through the CHOC offices, and it will be costing 20 Rand a ribbon. But we are also selling a whole lot of other goodies that's also part of commemorating childhood cancer and raising funds. At the CHOC offices, we will also this year be selling CHOC pens, and we will also be selling for the ladies, some men as well, gold lip ice, gold branded lip ice. But it's all part of the what we call the month of gold. But our emphasis is to raise awareness on the early warning signs.
So what can businesses, can corporate get involved with the golden ribbon drive, and if so, how?
Yeah, corporates can contact, as I said, they can contact CHOC. And if your corporate is in a particular province, you will be linked up with the nearest CHOC office, and they can then place an order for whichever amount of gold ribbons they want to order. And also corporates can invite CHOC to come and speak with their staff around CHOC services and the early warning signs of childhood cancer. If they want to commemorate it through, for instance, having gold ribbons up in their offices for the whole month, they can feel free to do so. Schools can also contact us if they are interested in purchasing gold ribbons to commemorate. They can have a service day in aid of CHOC. But most importantly, we want corporates to share the early warning signs with their staff with their clients so that we can get the message out there that children can get cancer. But the good thing is that if it's detected early, they stand a great chance of becoming survivors.
Wow. That's really, really interesting. And I like that this initiative is something that is, being pushed. So what I wanted to ask you was, what is the prevalence of cancer in children or childhood cancer?
In South Africa, 1 in every 508 kids are diagnosed with cancer. We've seen that, according to South African Children's Cancer Study Group, that there are approximately 1,000 newly diagnosed kids nationwide in South Africa. So 1,000 newly diagnosed kids nationally. And the most common or prevalent childhood cancer is still leukemia in South Africa.
All right, and you find this the spread of cancer in children in South Africa, is it more prevalent in certain communities, or is it just spread out throughout?
It is representative of the demographics of the country.
All right.
So if you look at the statistics, it's definitely representative. Yeah, the stats represent the demographics of the country. Yeah. So it's across the board.
Yes.
Like any cancer, it doesn't ask where you live, what car you drive, what house you live in. Any one of us can be faced with a cancer diagnosis. Yes.
All right. Now let's move on to something sort of like in a different direction. I really want to know if you have any stories of a family or families that you've worked with that have gone through that have used the services of CHOC, and take me through some of the memorable moments or some of the memorable families that you've dealt with, and yes, I'd love to hear that.
Wow, we actually have so many stories of families that have stayed at our CHOC houses, that have become an extended family of the CHOC staff, families who travel very, very far distances to access treatment, and they have started becoming or feeling that the CHOC staff's also their family when they are in Cape Town.
Yes.
We have a particular family from Worcester, and the little boy was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and he was treated at Tygerberg Hospital. And I just need to say that CHOC has gotten to know the pediatric oncology doctors so well, and there are so many good doctors that we have around the country. And this little boy completed his treatment at Tygerberg Hospital, and after having a 6-hour operation at the time when they tried to remove his brain tumor. His operation was very successful, very, very successful. And it's now been almost 5 years that he has been in remission. And he is attending school. He's actually, in fact, now high school.
Amazing.
And he's one of the kids that have really been, along with his parents, an ambassador for CHOC. They stayed at our CHOC house.
Wow.
Obviously, coming and going, they stayed at one of our CHOC houses in order to access the hospital much easier. And it's just been lovely to see him living a normal life, getting back into society. And there are so many success stories that we have here.
That's wonderful and heartwarming to hear. And obviously, look, it seems like, as I said earlier, quite a comprehensive operation that CHOC is spearheading and really leading the way. But it must come at a serious financial cost, right? Let's be serious about that. And what are the ways that what kind of income streams, or what kind of funding is necessary for such a massive a national operation?
Yeah. For us, as many other non-profit organizations, we are reliant on the generous donations of the public to support or sustain our services. We do not receive any government funding, but we have various income streams. We have, firstly, what we call our CHOC cows. They are absolutely amazing, and
Wait a
they
minute,
are
it's like a chocolate cow. They're like an Easter bunny, but a chocolate
they are
bunny.
no they dress in cow clothing,
Oh, okay.
cow white and black spotted cow clothing,
All right.
and they are normal members of the public that loves, for instance, swimming, running, cycling, and they then come on board and sign up to become CHOC cows, and they then raise funds for CHOC through participating in various initiatives, from your 94.7 in Johannesburg to your Cape August cycling tour. There are so many sporting events around the country, even internationally, that they participate
Wait a minute.
in.
So you're telling me, back in the day when I did the 2 Oceans, there was this guy sweating his ass off in a cow suit. Was he one of your CHOC cows?
Yes, we have our CHOC
Okay.
cars in the Sanlam Cape Town Marathon,
Okay.
in the Comrades, in the Midmar.
Amazing.
There are a lot of them, and they are amazing, selfless people who do selfless things to raise funds for CHOC. Then, other than the cows, people can also sign up to become debit order donors. People can donate via SnapScan. We also apply for funding, obviously, to trusts and foundations and corporates. And we also manufacture some of our own merchandise that's CHOC branded, which we also sell to the public in order to raise funds. But our campaigns, like
Yes.
our International Childhood Cancer Awareness Month campaign, which is in September, and in February, our International Childhood Cancer Day campaign, which is now called Flip Flop Day. Those are campaigns that we use to raise awareness and also raise some funds to support the work that we are doing, yes.
Interesting. Wow. It seems like a really
So
multidisciplinary operation going on here.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of work, but it's very, very fulfilling, very
Yes,
satisfying
yes.
to see the difference that it makes to support these families and these little ones.
That's really, really impressive. I believe there's going to be, is there a 10K walk coming up?
Oh, that is here in the Western Cape. It's
All
a Lace Up for Change is taking 10 CHOC kids on a fun run with the Blisters for Bread Fun Walk.
All right.
But nationally,
Yes.
we are definitely very hard at work in preparing for International Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, yes, which is September.
All right. So International Childhood
Cancer
Awareness Month. So obviously you guys have been preparing for some time for this month.
Yes.
And what are you preparing for the month?
So every CHOC branch has got various events that they are hosting in their particular regions. We are doing, as I said, a lot of awareness raising through the media and also through our visits, like our schools visits that we do regularly. And also our national office will also be doing a press conference where they launch, once again, International Childhood Cancer Month and our early warning signs drive. So it's a lot of awareness raising that is happening on the early warning signs, yes.
All right. Now I'm definitely going to take part in it. I'm going to be an active participant, but just tell me how.
I must say that our national office will also be driving a CEO campaign challenge, where we want CEOs to share with and challenge other CEOs, challenge them to also spread the awareness on the early warning signs during September. That's from CEO to CEO, we hope that more CEOs can share the signs. And in that way, we will get the public to pay attention to this important cause.
Brilliant. So, how can individuals and companies get involved at all different levels? So we're talking about kids, we're talking about parents, we're talking about grannies and grandpas and everything in between.
The public can contact our website and corporates, and on the website they will be able to see all of the ways to give donations if the public wants to donate. They can also contact the CHOC National Office, which is in Johannesburg, and through that, we can supply them with volunteer application forms if they want to volunteer at a particular regional office or regional program. So visit our website. All the information on how to volunteer and how to give will be on the website. And they can also request our wish lists. We have various wish lists, and that will have all of the donations in kind that people can help with, and all of the needs of the various CHOC houses. As your own home, the CHOC home needs a lot of practical support and things like non-perishable foods and toiletries. All of that will be found on our wish list. So they can also contact us, and we will email them our wish lists.
Amazing. All right. There's a last thing that I want to ask, just out of curiosity. How was CHOC impacted during COVID?
That's a very good question. You do know that many non-profit organizations closed during the lockdown. They were unable to render their services.
Wow.
I'm referring to the global and national charities that are operating and that are doing incredible good work. And as CHOC, we're very, very blessed that we could still continue with our services during the lockdown. We obviously had to develop a lot of protocols in terms of the access that the public had to our CHOC houses. But our CHOC houses, most of them remained open throughout the lockdown.
Amazing.
So that kids can still have access to their treatment. So all of our services continued during the lockdown. The one thing that did affect us in that time was fundraising. A lot of our internal and external events could not happen. A lot of sporting events happened virtually in a hybrid fashion. So our cows, their fundraising were affected.
They were running on webcams.
They were running virtually. But they were amazing because they were thinking of out-of-the-box ways to raise money and to still support CHOC. As was the case with many organizations, our fundraising or our funding slightly decreased in that period because of the fact that individuals, corporates, and the public were all affected by the lockdown, and the economy was suffering greatly. Yeah, but we still continued.
Amazing.
We pushed on, and all of our services still continued right through the lockdown.
Amazing. Obviously, we're learning more about the importance of NGOs such as yours. And it's really, really heartwarming to know that there are still people out there that don't just care, but they're actually active towards, bringing about change or, helping each other out and assisting. And it's really such a wonderful thing. So, Lynette, I'd love to, thank you.
Thank you so much
for being on here with us today. It's really inspiring and eye-opening. And I wish you the absolute best on your journey. And, we all need CHOC, and let's keep it going for the next...
For another 40 years.
40, no, we need to push it up to 100.
Yes. But thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity. And if people want any more information on CHOC, they can visit CHOC's website, which is www.choc.org.za. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lynette. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.